Vitello.
Tony, what did you see from Kirby there coming in and kind of saving the day, I guess?
No, he did. I mean, he came in a difficult situation, and I don't think made it look easy, but he looked like he was throwing the ball as well as he has on that mound or any mound since he's been here. And again, came in a difficult situation and kind of turned the tide of the game, not just for us on defense, but then kind of carried over offensively and went out there and got some big outs. Really, we probably got greedy extending both of those guys, but they were throwing the ball so well, it's kind of hard to argue, with just leaving them in there. I think the only mistake he really made the whole night wasn't, you're going to give up singles, but I think he forgot he was Kirby and he tried to be Snead on a two-strike pitch if he watches the video, or maybe he remembers it himself, and tried to kind of do his best Snead impersonation with 2 strikes, and the guy got it pretty good to center field. And they had a whole lineup of those guys that if you got outside of who you were, you made mistakes, or you gave free bases up, they were going to make it a headache for us.
What about Banky? Kind of same situation, had to get hot in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the old, get a huge emotional out, and then you need to kind of reset one way or another. I don't know what Redmond Walsh is. I wasn't a pitcher at a high level, so you got to do whatever you got to do to center yourself after getting that emotional out and having everybody storm out of the dugout and high-five you. I wasn't good enough to do that at this level. I can only imagine what that feeling is like. But again, you got to kind of find a way to center yourself, whether it's knowing who's up in the lineup or getting with your catcher, or just getting a drink and getting your breath, or go through your routines. But I thought Banky was equally as good as he was, or just as good as he was on Sunday for that moment, and then went out there and just, there wasn't a lot of room for error. I mean, it was obvious they were going to give us heck all night, and I didn't say hell, right? HE double hockey sticks all night, and so rather than let him work out of it, we went to a fresh arm, somebody who didn't throw much on Sunday.
What do you learn about your team in a game like that that's a little slowed and gets pretty chippy?
Well, yeah, I think you learn a few things. We got off to a good start because we got off to a good start today, guys. Whatever it was, we actually had workouts Monday instead of tomorrow. Tomorrow will be an off day, and it was a longer weekend. It was chilly, but that was as much energy and focus as they had coming to the park, and I think it started, off with a bang, but then it's baseball. Things aren't going to go your way. It wasn't a very offensive day. Those guys are slugging it out with us, so it turned into a heated battle in pretty quick fashion. So I think the thing we learned the most about the guys was, in a tight game like Asheville, like Oklahoma and the Texas Tech game. We've been in a few of these now, and even the Albany games all the way through the 4th, 5th inning were competitive. So it's been fortunate that we've gotten tested the way we have, or been fortunate.
What was the issue with Stamos? And I know it's early, but do you have any updates?
Yeah, I mean, that was a deal where we were going to make a change no matter what, so I let Woody go out there and assess the situation. And then the guy coming in gets as much time as he wants to warm up for anyone that was watching. And he can warm up in the bullpen or out on the mound. I think Banky kind of did a combo platter of those two things. Maybe it was a cookout combo platter. But, the arm was fine, I think. I think his forearm was a little sore, or maybe bicep. But Woody went through some things, and hopefully all things stay the same. But I think some soreness and some tightness in there from a guy that is interesting. He wasn't sandbagging on us in scrimmages, but you guys were at scrimmages and you are now at our games. I think you would agree with me. He's a different competitor on game day, which is great.
What's allowed KT to get off to start the season that he has?
I think the same as what allowed him to get off to a good start in the fall. Those early scrimmages, he was our best hitter. And then, like any baseball player, I think Simo, didn't have his best night offensively, but how many nights has he been our best offensive guy? And then someone else will be the best offensive guy on Friday. So there's ups and downs, but if you look at the start of his fall, he was our best hitter, and then it slowed a little bit, but since he's been back, his physique has been different, his mentality's been different, his attention to detail, like things on defense, has really progressed since he was a first-year kid here. And then as of late, I think where it's really going good for him is using the whole park. I mean, if I'm in the other dugout or I'm a pitching coach and I see him hit the ball to right the way he did and the ball off the wall and left, I'm kind of frustrated.
You think Dallas not pitching for so long finally caught up to him today?
No, I think, I think his first time he's been out there a little bit longer. And I know the way the kid thinks. He expects excellence. I don't want to say perfection and put, words in his mouth or assume, but I think he really expects to be, he's mature and he's confident, which I like. He's got high expectations and, it started slipping and sliding on a little bit there and kept going that downward spiral instead of him being able to self-correct. And I don't, my buddy gave me crap the other night. I guess in the interview I said, I'm no smarter than the next guy, and then I proceeded to tell you, like I'm smarter than the next guy. So I won't preface it by saying that. The one thing I do know, and I'll say with conviction, is often freshmen are a little slower to make an adjustment, whereas sophomore year, instead of correcting, from one game to the next, a hitter can do it from an at-bat to an at-bat, or instead of a pitcher like Dallas maybe making an adjustment from hitter to hitter, or maybe even inning to inning, they can do it pitch by pitch, and that's what a guy like Kirby and Stom can do. And Snead, I think, would admit to a progression that he's made from freshman year till now is probably being able to self-correct a little bit. You got to coach yourself out there when you're on the field. We get a minimum amount of timeouts. Really, you don't get any more offensive timeouts. And you only get a couple mound visits from us, and we don't really like to take them, to be honest with you. So you got to empower yourself and be able to coach yourself. And I think this will be a good lesson learned for him, and probably in the bullpen, that's what they'll be working on.
How important were the RBIs tonight from Robin and Cannon on a night when runs are kind of at a premium?
Yeah, they were big. I mean, you're not going to – the best swing of the night was Alex Perry for either team. I think their guy who drove the ball off Snead there late could make an argument. But my favorite swing was Alex Perry's, and we didn't get anything out of it. He hit it right into the teeth of the wind. So sometimes you got to pay attention to what your circumstances are, who's on the mound, what's going on with the game. And in a game like this, you'll take it any way you can get it. And a couple of those weren't necessarily really hard-barreled balls or driven real far, but they were enough just to get it done. And I think guys had get-it-done approach in a lot of at-bats, but those are the ones you mentioned are the ones where it worked out in our favor. So that's why we're always trying to encourage our guys. I know sometimes I've talked to even recruits. I think we're trying to coach home runs or something because there's been years we've had a lot of them. We just want guys to compete for at-bats that are beneficial to the team. And if you keep stacking those up, the percentages will waver in your favor.
Your favorite question, pitching plans for the weekend?
Yeah, probably Beam will pitch on Saturday. It's kind of, we're reverting, AJ obviously threw so well against Texas Tech, but we're reverting back to the first weekend. The one thing we do know is the consistency of Drew and kind of, we trust him to be the rock in the middle of the week for us. I think Sunday will be a literally wait until maybe even Sunday morning to see how guys feel. So that'll be those 2 days. And I think by Saturday, guys like Kirby may be able to come back or some other guys will be fresh. But Friday is going to be a who can get outs for us. And I don't know exactly when Causey will get them, but he's kind of been a Friday combo guy with AJ. So he'll pitch in some capacity, and we'll need him to get out there. It'll be fun for him because the game ended against Tech, and then the other game ended, his outing ended, before really hit a pitch count limit. So we'll entrust the ball in him in some form or fashion for a good amount of time. But there's going to be some other guys that need to be hungry to get out there and just get outs for us whenever they are, however they can get them. And, Combs was hot, and that was Snead's last hitter. So I'm sure that feeling of being hot, wanting to go in the game, will carry over into Friday for Combsy. Thanks, Coach. Thank you all.
Thanks, Tony.